Good morning. It is Wednesday, January the 14th of 2026. The time is 8:06. Currently here in downtown Wausau at our WXCO studios on the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street. Mostly cloudy, breezy, chilly conditions. 13 degrees is the temperature, a wind chill factor of 5 below zero. I am Chad Holmes. It is the Wednesday edition of the Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app, and also on YouTube at youtube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel. Coming up this morning, a little bit later on in our second hour, we'll be joined by the Executive Director of the Grand Theater, Sean Wright, talk about what's going on here in downtown Wausau at the Grand. But to start things off, we're going to continue our introductory conversations with candidates for governor of Wisconsin. Last week, we had an opportunity to talk to the Milwaukee County Executive, David Crowley. Coming up on Friday of this week, we'll be joined by Mandela Barnes, the former Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin and the nominee on the Democratic side for U.S. Senate in 2022. Next Tuesday, Missy Hughes, the former CEO of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, will be our guest, and others are being lined up as well. And this morning, we get an opportunity to talk to Zachary Roper. He is a candidate for governor in the state of Wisconsin. And first of all, Zachary, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that stands out is your age. How old are you?
I am 22 years old. I am the youngest candidate in the race, yeah.
Let me ask you, first of all, at the age of 22, and I just mentioned some of the other candidates and their positions or former positions and their experience. What just made you decide at your young age, and maybe not with the same level of experience as some of these other people, that you wanted to run for governor here in 2026?
So looking at what's going on in Wisconsin and just looking at the politics that's going on, being young, it is an advantage because I'm focused on where Wisconsin needs to be, not just in this election, but in 2035 and 2040. The biggest thing that I can see is we're losing population in the 18 to 35 range. And that age group builds businesses, buys homes, and starts families to start and stay in Wisconsin. And that's where I can come in and really make sure Wisconsin's a big state in the future.
How would you change that trend? Other than being a young person, what ideas do you have in terms of trying to get 18 to 35-year-olds to either come to Wisconsin or stay in Wisconsin?
Yeah, good question. So what I would do is bolster the education systems. We need better education systems. My mom's a teacher. She has been a teacher for 25 years, and she tells me the struggles of what goes on with the public education system and how we need more federal funding. Not just from the federal government, but from the state. So that would be the first thing that I would do. The second thing that I would do is get more companies to come in and stay in Wisconsin for a longer time. That will bring jobs and bring families with them. And those two things right there will keep a lot of people in Wisconsin.
Education funding has been a topic of conversation just even recently during the budget discussions last summer. It was a compromise budget, and I know there were some on the Democratic side that were unhappy that either the governor or Democrats in Madison did not work harder for improved funding in terms of the education of public schools here in Wisconsin. What was your take on last summer's budget discussions. Were you satisfied with the deal, especially when it came to education that was ultimately broached between the governor and the Republicans in the state assembly and state senate?
So that's a great question, and my answer is no. I'm not happy with the how the budget turned out. Um, when I first heard that the Democrats made a deal, I thought maybe that was going to be a deal that benefits all of us. But then when I took a further look at it, we basically caved in and just allowed the Republicans to do what they want to do and allow what they thought was the correct budget. I get that they have a majority, and I get that it was Governor Evers was still up in the air about if he was going to run again or not, but he should not have caved. We needed to have a bigger backbone and asked for more and done more.
What would you like to see, and what would you try to accomplish if you were in that chair the next time around? And I guess to add to that, how important would it be as well to have Democratic majorities in both the Assembly and the Senate as well to make those visions happen?
So having Democrat majorities in both sides or both chambers is a would be an okay thing, and that's crazy for me to say as a Democrat. But I honestly think that if one chamber was Republican, it would kind of be better. It would allow for more people to see what they not see, but like go back and forth on what the budget they wanted to see to be done. Not just a strict down the middle Democrat budget or strict down the middle Republican budget. So I almost think it's better that if one chamber is Democrat, one chamber is Republican, and that's how it just be for the next budget session. As crazy as it might be. But the things that I'm going to put into the budget bill would be money to keep small businesses up and running. We did not get a lot of funding for that. We needed a lot more funding for education, especially in the UW school system. We just need a lot more money in the education sector. We need a lot more money in the business sector. And if we can get those both accomplished, I'm more than certain we can change our numbers around.
What are your thoughts on the private school voucher system that has been part of our educational funding process for quite a few years now?
Um, I think that whole thing is an interesting, it's just interesting to think about private schools just getting vouchers for um, just being private. I think that it's not acceptable. Acceptable because at the end of the day, everyone's trying to get an education, and it doesn't matter what school you go to, private or public. Um, it it just I don't think it's right. No.
So you would attempt to try to eliminate the voucher program if you were elected governor?
I would negotiate on the voucher program. Yes.
Another issue that I think is being talked about is very important to Wisconsinites is access to health care.
Yeah.
And even we're going to start off, put the insurance question on the side, but in western Wisconsin and other areas of northern Wisconsin, northwest Wisconsin, access to hospitals and the amount of time it would take for somebody just to get to a hospital is increasing. We've seen hospital closures in the western part of the state. Your plans in terms of trying to turn that around, because I think in the year 2026, the idea that folks have to go hours in order to get healthcare to see a doctor is something that is beyond the pale. What are your thoughts on how to improve access to hospitals and doctors, especially those in rural areas?
So yeah, that's a great question. My campaign team at the start of when I announced actually told me about the hospital closures that were happening and how devastating they would be to rural communities like yours. Um, what I have to say to that is I want to reopen those hospitals. I want to either build new hospitals or reopen those hospitals that were shut down. No one should wait to get help. It's just a silly thing. If people are hurting, we're not going to drive hours upon hours just so they can get looked at or checked out. That's not happening. So that's the first thing I would change. I would do that pretty much immediately. We have enough surplus funding from the past two budgets. in order to make that happen. So use that surplus to fund the hospitals, fund the doctors, and so on and so forth.
When you talk about health insurance, and of
Mhm.
course, in the federal government, that is a topic of discussion with the expiration of the Affordable Care Act uh, subsidies, and that's continuing to be talked about with the Democratic Party in Washington attempting to, at least, reverse it somewhat. Here in Wisconsin, we've had similar discussions when it comes to Badger Care and other insurance aspects for the state level. What is your platform when it comes to insurance in the state of Wisconsin?
So when it comes to healthcare in the state of Wisconsin, my platform is that everyone should be afforded healthcare that needs healthcare. We're not going to leave anyone out that is in need of healthcare. Um,
Real quickly,
yeah,
what does that mean? I mean, the idea that is there some people that don't need health care? I don't understand the idea of those who
yeah.
need health care. What does that exactly mean?
So right now, as what my team told me, and from what I've talked to with other people, there are people out there that need healthcare that don't have healthcare because of the current Badger Care system. They say that it's either too expensive or it's just not accessible to them, which I totally understand. Um, I yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, very good. Again, we're talking to Democratic gubernatorial candidate Zachary Roper here on 98.9 WXCO. You mentioned the fact that over the last couple of budget cycles that we have had large surpluses and
Mhm.
that have not been able to come to a deal between Republicans and Democrats, with the Republicans wanting to take a great majority, if not close to all of that surplus, and give it back as tax cuts, while Democrats have been wanting to use some of that money for different areas of need within the state of Wisconsin. When you look at that money, you mentioned the fact that you would
Mhm.
use some of it in terms of trying to reopen closed hospitals.
Mhm.
Where else would you like to use that money? Are you somebody that wants to use it in certain project areas? Do you want to use it as tax cuts? What is your thought in terms of using that surplus?
So, looking at the budget and seeing what has already been done and already has been accomplished in Governor Evers's term and what's going on for the next couple of years, I think I would use the surplus to build on projects that need to be done or started around the state of Wisconsin. Like I said before, I would start by reopening or building new hospitals in rural areas so people don't need to travel to Timbuktu to get health care or to be seen by a doctor. I would also build. I haven't got that far of what I would build, but I do know that I would be. I would use the budget surplus in order to further benefit Wisconsin and to further benefit the projects that need to be done.
We need to take a short break. We have a hard break coming up. Are you available for a few more minutes?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we're going to come back in about 3 minutes and have one more segment with Democratic candidate for the governor of Wisconsin in 2026, Zachary Roper. That's coming up next as we continue on this Wednesday morning Chad Holmes Show on 98.9 WXCO. And welcome back, Chad Holmes Show on 98.9 WXCO. This morning we are talking to one of the candidates for Wisconsin governor, continuing our series of introductory conversations with the candidates looking to succeed Tony Evers in the state house. Today we're talking to Zachary Roper. Another issue that is being discussed as a major issue is childcare, because childcare costs and childcare opportunities are becoming more and more difficult, and that leads to folks not being able to afford to go out and be out in the workforce as well. Your thoughts on the child care crisis in the state of Wisconsin? Any ideas in terms of how you would go about trying to improve it here in the state of Wisconsin?
Yeah, totally. So, when we look at the current childcare systems and how they work in Wisconsin, um, they they either get way too much money, in my opinion, or way too little money, and then they don't always do what they're supposed to do in that aspect. We saw in Minnesota the other day that there's supposed fraud in daycare systems with Governor Walz and everything that's going up there. In Wisconsin, we're nothing like that. Safe to say. But what I would do is I would give more money to the childcare systems. I would make sure that every single childcare system that needs money can get money, so that the parents can go to work, so that we have a economy that's functioning while they're taking care of their children.
There's actually a potential for even further disruption when it comes to Wisconsin child care providers, because Donald Trump's administration says it will halt child care payments to all 50 states
Mhm.
until they can prove they're using them, quote, legitimately, end quote. It brings up the question of dealing with an administration that has not been shy about trying to use its power to affect policy within states or within universities or within other organizations. How would you handle certain situations? I mean, we see where Donald Trump's administration tries to pressure different states for to change policies. How would you deal with it in terms of being a leader? And in this era, the leadership aspect is vitally important. How would you show the strength against the federal government when perhaps trillions of dollars of federal funding could be at stake?
So yeah, that's a great question. When it comes to the federal government and everything that Donald Trump has been doing, I think it's kind of disgusting that he's peer pressuring um, the certain systems, especially the UW system we saw most recently in Wisconsin. And we need to we have had a bigger backbone when it comes to this, especially Governor Evers. He's not backed down. He's made sure that the UW system has had their money and continues to function on the ways that they've been able to function in the past. What I would do is I would listen to what the president has to say, but not always follow what he wants to do, if that makes sense. I would just listen to what he thinks needs to be changed, what he thinks is going on, and then basically from that, take what's fact and take what's fiction. There's not everything what the president says is true at the end of the day. I think many people know that, and that's how it would stick up to the federal government.
Talking about immigration, Lieutenant Governor Rodriguez has put out a proposal this week that would, uh, in terms of civil immigration enforcement actions in Wisconsin, be banned around courthouses, hospitals, health clinics, licensed child care centers, daycares, schools and institutions of higher learning, domestic violence shelters, and places of worship. The governor himself says he's not sure that is something that he supports at this time. What is your take, perhaps specifically on that proposal, and generally what your thoughts are when it comes to what we see with ICE around the country and even areas of Wisconsin?
So I have not been able to. I have heard about Lieutenant Governor Rodriguez's thing that she posted, or statement that she released to the Journal Sentinel. I have not been able to read the whole thing. I've just been able to read bits and pieces of it. So I'm not going to comment on her stance and issue at the time. But what I would, with the whole ICE thing in Wisconsin, I don't think ICE needs to be in Wisconsin, to be brutally honest. Um, we don't have the same immigration issues that they have in Texas or Florida or New Mexico or Arizona. We just don't. We're Wisconsin. Um, I don't think they need to be going around in the streets and terrorizing people and questioning if they're American citizens or not. Um, this is just not safe. It's not helpful for or beneficial for people to go on everyday life. And we're seeing more and more and more with the riots going on in Milwaukee. No, I wouldn't call them riots, but the protests in Milwaukee and in Madison area and in the Kenosha area. Um, we see those. We see ICE in downtown Kenosha when I'm at school. We tell people what they can and cannot do and how to stay away from them and whatnot, but they always come to college campuses, especially Madison, from what I've heard. They come to my campus. They just want to terrorize people and like make life worse for them.
Well, let me specifically ask you. You talked about maybe Wisconsin not being the same as states like California, Arizona, and others. Do you think that what ICE is doing in those states is right? I guess to get to the point. Do you see that immigration being an issue at the level that the law enforcement should be able to go in there and go into these places and haul away many thousands of people?
No, I don't think they should be able to haul away many thousands of people. I think if they wish to challenge people that live in the United States, they should do it in a court of law. That's how the United States has been built for 250 years. It's our birthday this year, so I should know. Um, I, I just think it's really disgusting what I'm seeing in California in the southern states. We should be doing this civically. We should not be just dragging people off and putting them in asylums or jails or whatnot and transporting back to where they think they came from. I don't think that's correct.
Zachary Roper, candidate for governor, Democrat in the state of Wisconsin. Appreciate your time this morning, and hopefully, as the campaign continues, we'll get to talk again.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
We're going to take a time out, have an information update, and then back with more. The time is 8:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
And welcome back. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM and also on the Civic Media app. And don't forget, you can also tune in on YouTube, youtube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel. Right now, 12 degrees here in downtown Wausau. Wind chill factor stands at 10 below zero, so it's cooled off significantly. Just had an opportunity to speak to Zachary Roper, a 22-year-old student who is running for governor of Wisconsin. Ian Welsh across the way, our in-studio engineer. Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, Chad.
A few thoughts on what we just heard. I mentioned during the course of the interview some of the other positions being held by those who are running for office. We have coming up Friday morning, you'll hear on this program a conversation with Mandela Barnes, who is the former lieutenant governor of the state of Wisconsin, ran a 1-point race against Ron Johnson as the Democratic nominee for the United States Senate in 2022. We have next Tuesday, Misty Hughes, whose experience includes being the former CEO of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. We had last week the Milwaukee County Executive, David Crowley. We have others, including Kelda Royce, who is a state senator. Also, the Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin, Sarah Rodriguez, running. We have Francesca Hogg, the state representative from the 76th District. Joel Brennan, former secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Administration. These are people that have relevant experience. And I think in our discussion, we saw somebody who is frankly not even close to being ready to be doing this. And part of me was, I think the way that I'm doing this is everybody that's running for governor is going to get their opportunity. But I just think right now we are in a period of our history in the state of Wisconsin and in the United States of America that vanity runs are not doing us any good.
No, they're not.
And I just find that somebody that is not ready for the job should not be taking the time away from
vanity
those.
Run. To me, it sounds like a big publicity stunt.
Well,
they don't have the experience.
No, it's not.
They don't have the.
It's not a publicity because I mean he's not
get their face out there.
I know,
Yeah.
But just some of the thoughts on the discussion. And by the way, if you have thoughts on what we just heard, feel free to call us. Our phone lines are open at 715-814-9330. That's 715-814-9330. One of the more interesting aspects of what we just heard that kind of perked my ears up is the idea that he endorses the idea of having the Republicans keep control of one of the houses of the state legislature. I disagree with that at this point in our history. I think that the Republican Party has held both the state assembly and the state senate for many years now. And I think that in order to see whether or not ideas work that the Democratic Party has, that the best route at this point would be for the trifecta, as we're hearing. Having a Democrat elected governor, having a Democratic majority in the state assembly, and having a Democratic majority in the state senate. Because then you have an opportunity to see if the platform and the ideas of the Democrats in the state of Wisconsin can work.
Absolutely.
Republicans have had that opportunity. In the 8 years that Scott Walker was the governor, they had the opportunity to see whether or not the ideas of Scott Walker and the Republican Party were able to work for the people of the state of Wisconsin. And I think in a lot of ways, we found that they did not work. Republicans may argue otherwise, but whatever. But I just think that having split government and having the idea that compromise is king doesn't always work. I do think that Democrats have an opportunity, and I think should have the opportunity to show whether or not the policies that they endorse would work for the great majority of the people of the state of Wisconsin. So the idea of a candidate for governor on the Democratic side saying that he would prefer to see Democrats win one house of the state legislature and Republicans to win the other house of the state legislature, I think is a little bit off kilter, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, it is a nice idea to have a Democratic and a Republican, try to compromise on these issues, but the real world of politics is a lot more complicated than that, and both sides, and I'm trying to be objective here, both sides can be very stubborn sometimes, and it's hard to, you know, find the middle ground. And I agree with you. I think it's time the Democrats, you know, take a turn in office and almost and make some policies and see how they work for the American people compared to what the Republicans have done over the last few years, just to see, well, okay, are we making progress or are we just standing still? I think it's time for a little bit of a change. And I know change is difficult. It's not easy.
We started off when I asked him running for the office. He talked about the idea that we are losing population between 18 and 35-year-olds, and the idea of the need for the state of Wisconsin to be able to maintain that population and also grow it. And I agree with that. I'm not sure there was any great ideas there. And one of the things that also kind of jumped out, and I think he needs to make sure that he is aware of some of these important issues and have the ideas of what will be done. And the one thing that I'm going to try to do in 2026 when talking to candidates of all stripes, whether at the state level, the local level, is it's one thing to identify issues. It's another thing to have ideas on how to fix issues. And so often, if you are going, and I guarantee you, as we get into these campaigns, no matter what level it may be, when you see the 30-second commercials, there's going to be somebody that's list off problems. And I think we've seen them already. I think a great example is the Michael Alfonso spots that you'll list off these issues, but where are the answers? Where are the solutions to some of these problems? And I think that as we move forward, I think it's responsibility of those of us asking the questions, and also those of you out there who get a chance to meet with some of these candidates to try to get answers on not just what the problems are, but in terms of how the problems can be fixed. And it's not enough just to be able to list off, oh, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible. Well, how are we going to fix it? And is there a viable roadmap to having your ideas implemented? Because it's not just enough to say that this is what I want to do, but how are you going to do it? And I do think that one of the issues on having somebody with such a lack of experience when it comes to not just governmental job experience, but I think job experience as a whole. So I do think that you look at the Democratic field generally, and it's a very impressive field in terms of the experiences that each of these candidates have. I listed them off. I think these folks have had an opportunity to see where some of the potholes are when it comes to trying to implement some of the ideas one may have to make our state a better place to live. And I think for somebody like Mr. Roper is perhaps run for a city council spot, run for a school board spot.
Yeah.
I think sometimes running for the governor of the state of Wisconsin, he actually ran as well 2 years ago for the assembly, the 84th Assembly District in the state of Wisconsin that comprises parts of southeast Waukesha County and northwest Racine County. And it is I think, a Republican area. And he ran for the office and had a rough time of it. It was a rather one-sided race. It was more than 80% went to his opponent. He received less than 20% of the vote. So again, I think that the idea of young people running, I think, is a great idea. And I think the thing that is very exciting as well, we saw last week when we had a chance to talk to David Crowley, the Milwaukee County executive. It's hard to believe with his experiences, both in the state assembly and as Milwaukee County executive, he is not yet 40 years old. And I think that's an exciting aspect for us because I do think that we need younger representation in our government, whether at the local, state, or federal level. Coming up next week, Mandela Barnes. Again, he's been around for a while, but he's still a very young man.
True.
You see others, Sarah Rodriguez. I mean, she is definitely part of a new generation, I think, along with Kelda Royce and Fran Hong, Missy Hughes. I think that there's a number of these candidates that do bring that sense of new ideas, of a different generation looking at things maybe in a different way as well. Because I do think that we knew the old, and I'm not a big fan of the idea of the terminology being used of pass the baton, because I've heard that term used so
Yeah.
often going back to the 2024 presidential race, and now even in the discussions on whether or not Governor Tony Evers should be running for a third term or not, the idea of passing the baton. I don't want to hear that term anymore. I'm tired of that term. But I do think that we do need to have a next generation of leadership that earns their way into these spots. It's not just about handing it off. It's about some of these younger folks earning their spots by winning these elections.
Absolutely.
So I do think that many of these have already proven to be winners electorally. They have won elections. They've been able to get into office and get a list of accomplishments. And I do think that is something that people need to look at as well. Not only what is their background, not only what is their age, not only what they are saying they want to do, but what have they been able to accomplish so far in their political careers. And I
That's
do
right.
think that this Democratic field has a very long list of accomplishments that they can run on.
I agree with that. Absolutely. Nothing.
So again, we
You
are
do
going
make a point
oh,
about the passing the baton. It's kind of lost it's lost its edge. It's not as impactful as it used to be in the past, and I think that's definitely a term that needs to be just retired just for a little bit.
and no, I understand the whole thought process, because we have seen in our country the aging of our elected officials. I mean, it has been something that has really occurred in recent years. And the thing is,
I mean,
it's not
President Biden was a you know he was up there in age, and yet he was still able to do a lot even before he became our most recent president. He did a lot in his on his past, and he has a record of great experiences. Like even I can't remember what I said. President Trump himself is in. Was he in his?
he's almost 80.
Oh, I thought
No.
it was like in the middle 70s.
No, I
but
mean, the thing about it is, I mean,
Yeah.
President Biden, I think,
Just-
did a fine job, but I also do think that we should not be having back-to-back presidents or pushing 80 years old either. So it's like, I do think that we do need to get some I would say, younger, talented,
yeah,
experienced folks involved, and it hasn't been
I
that long.
completely agree.
We had younger presidents. I mean, Bill Clinton was a pretty young president when he first came in. Barack Obama was a young
Right.
president. They proved that they could do the jobs as well. So again, it's not about strictly generations. It has to be as well in terms of the accomplishments and also the abilities of these folks. But at the same time, we just see nowadays, especially at the federal level, way too many people that are in their 60s and their 70s and their 80s,
Yeah.
while there are talented people that are, I think, ready to take the responsibility of governance as well.
No, I agree.
Coming up, we will have more as we continue here on this Wednesday morning. Again, 715-814-9330 is our phone number.
little dreamer. Can you put your hands in your head? Oh no. I said, fall. What a day, a year, a life it is. You know. Well, you know, you had it coming to you. Now there's not a lot I can do. Dreamer, stupid little dreamer. So now you put your head in your hands, oh no.
And welcome back. Chad Holmes Show 98.9 WXCO, WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. Don't forget, coming up, we have another hour to go, but it will be online. Again, our first hour each and every weekday morning from 8 till 9 here on 98.9 WXCO. And then coming up after 9 o'clock, you can catch the rest of the program on WXCO.FM and the Civic Media app. Go to the Sports 2 stream. We'll change that to Stream 2 at some point, but it's listed as Sports 2 right now, but it's our alternate stream. So if you go to WXCO.FM and the Civic Media app, just click on Sports 2 stream, and you'll be able to hear us in hour number 2 of the show. And you can also catch us on our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel and be able to see the rest of the show there as well. In fact, the whole show is on YouTube, so you can just tune in starting at 8 o'clock and stick with us till 10 o'clock on YouTube. And, of course, if you miss any of the program, we do put it up as a podcast. It's under the WXCO news section. So if you go to WXCO.FM and the news section, you'll be able to see should be able to hear the podcast. You can also, if you're on Spotify, subscribe to WXCO News, get our show, get the WXCO Daily News Roundup as well by going to Spotify or wherever you get your podcast and subscribing to WXCO News. So, again, different ways to be able to keep up with us each and every day. And as I mentioned, we are going to continue our discussions. Basically, they're introductory discussions with the candidates for governor. We've got 2 now done. We will have Friday have Mandela Barnes, the former lieutenant governor, Friday. So tune in starting at 8:06 to hear that conversation. Next Tuesday, we will get an opportunity to talk to Missy Hughes, again, the former development coordinator for the state of Wisconsin. That's coming up, and then we'll continue along that line as well. Real quickly, last night in high school sports, we had a game right here on 98.9 WXCO. Wausau West on the boys' side lost to Roncalli 49-36. Warriors now 5-6 on the season, return to action on Friday, hosting Marshfield in a Wisconsin Valley Conference game. We'll have that one for you right here on 98.9 WXCO. Also last night in high school boys hoops in a non-conference game, DC Everest defeated Chippewa Falls 74-54. Marshfield over Eau Claire Memorial 74-53. Wisconsin Rapids fell to Eau Claire North 71-62. Bondwell knocked off Wausau East 79-49. Merrill edged Antigo 50-49. Marathon stays undefeated. The Marathon boys are still perfect on the season. They defeated Stratford 72-20. Newman Catholic, a come-from-behind win, beating Edgar 62-61 last night. Also, Mosinee roughed up Tomahawk 75-20. Northern Lutheran lost to Rosholt by a score of 75-57. Abbotsford loses to Prentice 101-49. Athens falls to Rib Lake 64-50. Girls basketball last night, Wausau East beat Athens 64-42. Also, DC Everest over Adams Friendship 54-46. Merrill beat Antigo 50-36. Wittenberg Burnhamwood top Bondwell 58-35 as well last night. In girls hockey, the Central Wisconsin Storm was victorious. Storm knocked off the Wisconsin Valley Union by a score of 3-1 last evening. Don't forget tonight from 6 till 8 p.m., it's another edition of the Big High School Sports Show right here on 98.9 WXCO, WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO, Civic Media app, and on the 98.9 WXCO YouTube channel. BJ Brandt and myself will recap what's been going on in high school sports. We'll also be joined by our coach guest for this week, East Merrill United hockey coach Brian Bednarczyk at 6:30, and our student athlete guest at 7:06, Wausau East boys basketball senior Robbie and Julie. That's the big high school sports show tonight, 6 till 8 p.m., right here on 98.9 WXCO and online.
And don't forget that show continues all the way through the middle of March.
That's exactly right. Right to the end of the winter high school sports season, right to the end of the boys basketball state tournament.
And people can still watch all the previous episodes.
There you go.
Correct?
Absolutely. Available as podcasts and also YouTube videos as well. Coming up after 9 o'clock, we'll be joined during the hour by the executive director of the Grand Theater, Sean Wright. Also, we will be talking about, I think, an outrageous cover-up of a murder in Minnesota. As right now, the federal government, the Department of Justice, has said they're not going to even look into it. The Department of Justice and their Civil Rights Division are seeing people quit their jobs because they are refusing to investigate the killing of Renee Good. And we're going to talk about that coming up as well in the next hour, because that's an outrage. That is a cover-up to the ultimate extreme. So we'll talk about that. And also we will finish up and we'll see if Ian can get back on the winning track when it comes to our number for the day quiz. He is 0 for 2 so far this week. So
yeah, I got some work to do.
We'll wrap that up. So again,
as long as it's not a question about time.
There you go. But
we said last time, time is definitely my a weakness when it comes to the number of the day.
So folks, if you want to stick with us, tune in on YouTube, youtube.com, and the 98.9 WXCO channel. Go to WXCO.FM or to the Civic Media app and the 98.9 WXCO part of the app and click on the Sports 2 stream, and you'll be able to listen to us live for the next hour and join us, 715-814-9330. So hopefully you'll stick with us for the next hour as well. If you keep it right here on 98.9 WXCO, it will be Greg Bach and mid-mornings on Civic Media. So we'll be back at 9:06 online. So hopefully we'll see you there. Ian Welsh, Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
All I need is a TV show and the radio. Down on my luck again. Down on my luck again. I can show you some of the people in my life. I can show you some of the people in my life. It's driving me mad. Just another way of passing the day.
Good morning. The time is 9:07. It is Wednesday, January the 14th of 2026. 12 degrees here in downtown Wausau. We are live from our studios at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street in downtown Wausau. Wind chill factor 10 below zero. Yep, it's cooled down significantly from yesterday, but glad you could join us here on the Chad Holmes Show. Second hour, of course, online only. We are live on the Sports 2 stream of WXEO.FM and also on the Civic Media app. Also, you can catch us live on YouTube at youtube.com and the 98.9 WXEO channel. Coming up in a little bit, we'll be joined by the Executive Director of the Grand Theater of Wausau, Sean Wright. Find out what's going on with the Grand as they get closer and closer to the renovation for their second century campaign. But there's been a lot of great activities going on there in recent weeks. We haven't had a chance to talk to Sean in about 4 weeks because we were in the midst of the holiday season.
It's been a while.
So we'll find out how the holiday events all went at the Grand Theater coming up in just a little bit. And then we'll finish things up with a look at some famous events that have occurred on this date in history. Also have our number for the day quiz with Ian Welsh as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you caught this yesterday. There was a event that Donald Trump did in the Detroit area yesterday.
Was that the MMA thing? Or
No,
was that something else?
No, this was something else. He was off doing an event in the Detroit area at a union shop. It was part of his affordability tour.
Oh, gosh.
And a few folks were not thrilled with Donald Trump being there. And they basically yelled out that he was protecting pedophiles. And Donald did not handle it very well. He used an expletive, and then he gave the bird to the person.
Oh, my.
Very presidential, I'll say. No. I mean, this man is really falling apart at the seams.
A man-child, basically.
Yeah, but he's just losing it instead of just...
He doesn't handle it calmly. He doesn't handle it like a president should. He just, he takes off the kid glove. No, actually, he puts on the kid gloves and basically just treats this like he's a 7-year-old, just basically bullying kids on the playground. Just the fact that you gave him the finger just shows how a little class he has.
You talk about, I mean, the guy was just, I mean, to see a president of the United States, he is walking away, and I saw the video. It was on TMZ. And Trump apparently heard this Ford worker yell, "pedophile protector." And he's walking away, and he starts pointing at him, and he's yelling at him, and then all of a sudden, he gives him the finger, and he says, "Bleep you." I mean, you just...
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's like such a thin skin. A thin skin. So it's like good. Frankly, the worker, has shown more guts than a lot of the folks that ask questions of this president. And
yeah,
I mean, and the thing about it is the media should stop acting like this guy is a real president. Because again, he told another reporter, "Shut up, piggy." I mean, this is ridiculous. Every time he's asked a hard question, he says they're a horrible reporter, horrible human being. These folks have to give it back to this guy. That's the only
Seriously.
way it can happen, because this man refuses to answer legitimate questions. He doesn't like the questions. He then turns it personal.
And
And
people
it's
say,
wrong.
oh, it's just Donald being Donald. He doesn't mean anything. Wake up, people.
Donald being Donald.
This kind of behavior is unacceptable for anyone, especially the leader of the country.
Yeah, that's very true. So again, it's just every day. It's
What happened to standards? Standards, people. What happened to basic human decency?
The people of this country voted for it, and I've heard over the last couple of years, in fact, folks that work here at Civic Media. Can't blame the voters. No, because they were worried about prices and the such. No, you have choices, and frankly, we're paying for some bad choices right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you elect somebody that is not qualified to be the president of the United States, and he's not, he is. And the thing that is scary, in a sense, is that people, unelected people like Stephen Miller, are wielding incredible power right now. That's concerning to me. And so again, it's a case where that's why here in the year 2026, when we have the discussions, we have the discussion in the first hour, an opportunity to talk to one of the candidates for the governorship. We had a chance to be able to talk to Zachary Roper and be able to talk to him about his candidacy. It's important to ask the questions. It's important to listen. It's important to really delve into it and be able to find out those answers and make sure that you're a very informed voter when it comes to whether it's local races or whether it's state races or whether it's federal races. So obviously it's very, very important, especially here in 2026, the 250th birthday of our country, and not quite as old as the Grand Theater, but it's been a staple here in downtown Wausau for a century. And it's great to see for the first time here in 2026, Bill Belichick's biggest fan, apparently, wearing the North Carolina hat.
We're a basketball school, men's lacrosse school, field hockey school, baseball school.
Sean, right? Hey, I hope you had a wonderful holiday season, Christmas, and great to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
Well, I mean, that's before we actually go into, the new year and all the great stuff going on at the Grand. I know that the holiday season is always such a very busy time. And since we last saw you, you went through the heart of the holiday season. Was it a wonderful Christmas time and New Year's time at the Grand Theater?
Yeah, it absolutely was. I mean, it's just such a busy time, and it's amazing to see people of all ages come through the doors for a really wide variety of shows, from Nutcracker to Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, the Oak Ridge Boys, the Altenberg Show, Mannheim Steamroller, to that holiday classic Steve-O. And
you love saying that. You said it. I think he better take that whenever he's around the country during the holiday time.
Everybody else has a holiday show.
There you go.
Why not him? But no, it's just nice to see all the great events and see people come out and truly share their holidays with us.
Yeah, and it's I mean, again, the Grand is such a part of the Christmas season, I think, here in central Wisconsin, with the shows that you bring in on a continuous basis. And I think it just adds to the whole spirit of the season. And thank you for that. And I'm glad that the folks were able to take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Also, here now in 2026, you're underway. And I know that you had a big Broadway production just last night.
Yeah, night one of Kinky Boots last night. Just a fantastic show, of course, the Tony Award-winning musical. And, we love having it back. And still one night to go, still some tickets left. So we hope if people, it's cold and windy and
perfect theater night.
Exactly. It's a perfect night to come out to the show.
And for folks who aren't familiar with Kinky Boots, if they're thinking, hey, maybe I would like to go and see it again, the show, how would you describe it?
It's just an uplifting evening. I mean, it's a fantastic story about a man who inherits his father's shoe factory and is trying to keep it from closing, and finds some unlikely allies to help him keep the business up and running. Falls in love at the same time, and it's just a show that you just walk out with a smile on your face, and we all need that right now.
Absolutely. And again, and one of the things that's so much, again, we're very fortunate here in this part of the state, and to be able to experience what you would see in a Broadway setting.
Absolutely.
I mean, again, these are Broadway shows that are touring, and instead of having to go hours to see it, to be able to see it here. And I just think that's fantastic. You got the perfect venue for it, and to be able to have this opportunity to see. I often talk about, I'm going to turn it to a sports thing, where it's so much fun when you have a chance to see the best doing their stuff.
Sure.
And here you have a chance to see the best doing their stuff here in Wausau.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are incredibly talented artists and musicians, and I mean, to be out on a national tour, you are short of being on Broadway itself. You are at about the highest level in your profession, and every show that comes through, we're just amazed by the performances, amazed by the talent that's on our stage, and yeah, it is fantastic to be able to have that right here.
And I don't think it's an accident that the fact that you are able to bring in such great shows and bring in such great talent has, I think, helped explode in a certain respect the number of people that, whether at the youth level and whether at the community level, that want to be involved in it and want to show their talents as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we're really seeing, obviously, there's so many amazing organizations, and we're seeing it with the growth of our Central Wisconsin Jerry Ensemble and the Jerry Awards, and truly, it is a Broadway moment in this community.
Again, we're talking to Sean Wright, who's the executive director of the Grand Theater of Wausau, here on 98.9 WXCO. Well, we are into 2026.
We are.
And I know that, this isn't, I mean, when you get to the point where you're on the rocking chair about 93 years old, thinking about the career, I imagine that this time is going to be right there up front, because there is so much going on, both in terms of the shows you have coming up, but in the run up to the closing down and then the big renovation. I mean, what a time for the Grand Theater.
It truly is. We're about 115 days away from closure, not that we're counting. And so, we're really living right now in this world of, we've got a lot of great shows between now and May 10th. We've got a closure coming. I know we've got a reopening coming in November, and booking everything that comes along with, the centennial season following the reopening. So there is a lot going on, but it's a really exciting time for our organization, for the community, and for everybody who really supports and loves the Grand Theater.
Let's talk about what is happening on the stage of the Grand Theater as we get here into January and moving forward. What's coming up on the itinerary?
Yeah, absolutely. In addition to Kinky Boots, we've got the Deuces Wild Dueling Piano Show coming up. We've got Colin Ray. We've got the Classic Albums Live Show. So a lot of really great things.
Which is the Classic Albums Live this year?
This one is one of two shows. This is Lithium. So it's celebrating the music of 90s alternative and grunge.
Back in my college days.
The good times.
Back when I first started working in radio, worked at the college radio station, and that's exactly what we were playing back in that era. And I know that those classic album shows have really become, people love that, don't they?
They do. Really talented musicians, and those guys they're professionals. They absolutely know what they're doing, and they really hit those shows hard.
And again, it's the variety. I just really think that the idea. I mean, you got the Broadway shows, you got the musicians, you got the comedians. Again, it just continues to where whatever your taste is, you have an opportunity to see it.
Yeah, I mean, in the next month, you can see dueling pianos, you can see classic albums, you can see country artist Colin Ray. I mean, if you had your tickets, you could see the Brewers manager Pat Murphy next Monday. See Broadway from Kinky Boots to Mrs. Doubtfire, tribute bands, you name it, we've got it.
How much are you looking forward to seeing Pat Murphy?
That's going to be great.
Do you get a chance to ask him a question, or is that just for the patrons?
How many games do you really think the Cardinals will win next year? The over-under is 60.
Oh, you must. By the way, I mean, was it yesterday the big trade?
Arenado's gone. Contreras is gone.
Are you happy about that? Finally, that page can be turned.
Blow it up. Had to happen. But 2026 is going to be an ugly time at Busch Stadium.
But again, this Pat Murphy thing, and we talked about this as well, just shows again that you're kind of open to interesting shows.
Absolutely.
I mean, it just comes to you and it's like, hey, that's going to work.
Truly, we want to provide something for everybody. And that's an example of, Broadway may not be your thing, but baseball is. We've got you covered.
You mentioned that is sold out. And you mentioned some of the other shows coming. You mentioned tonight, Kinky Books,
Yeah.
a few tickets from me. What are some other shows that people are tuned in right now and thinking, well, I'm thinking about this, but the tickets may be getting a little bit low. They should get on it pretty quickly.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire coming up the first Saturday in February. They wanted us to do Sunday, and I said, we can't do Sunday. It's Super Bowl Sunday. The Packers will,
of course, they're going to be there.
Alas. But tickets going fast for both of those shows. And then for a few shows coming up as we get further into March.
I guarantee you that if you had scheduled a Super Bowl Sunday show, they would have held off the Bears last week.
They would have.
They would have just done it because they wanted to throw a monkey wrench in your plans.
Guaranteed.
Second Century. Where do we stand? What do you? Because I know that it's a constant process here.
Yeah, we've got about $4 million still to raise, and we're just pushing through. And May 10th, we close the doors for 6 months. We reopen to a beautiful, brand new, restored Grand Theater.
Is everything kind of set right now? I mean,
ish.
I know you've been kind of like. There's always these things that kind of pop up.
Depends on the day, depends on the week, but we've got a really good team of architects and contractors, so we feel like we're in a good place.
I know that on the site you got a lot of information, but I imagine that as you do get closer and closer, and then knowing that here in 2026, I mean, we're in 2026. By the end of this year, we're going to have that millions of dollars of renovation, a beautiful redesign to make it even as wonderful. I mean, anybody goes there now knows how wonderful it is right now. What is the excitement? Because I can just imagine, because I'm as excited to see what it's going to be. Just a jewel right here in downtown Wausau. It already is, but it's
how great will November be? That's what we keep telling our staff and telling ourselves, like, how great will it be? There's a lot of work between now and then, but it's going to be incredible when we open our doors and we see the result of all of this work and all of the investment and, the ability to use new transformed spaces and restored, spaces like the theater. It's going to be truly incredible. And as we come up to 100 days to closure, it feels like that sometimes. We've got some exciting things about how people can get involved if they haven't gotten involved already, or if they'd like to, further enhance their involvement to help get us to that finish line of those final, $3.5-4 million to go.
Fantastic. And again, the website to check out.
Check out grand100.org for all of the Second Century things, and then obviously Grand Theater, ER.org for everything else,
and get those tickets. And
And
by the way, I mean, roughly how many shows? Again, I don't know. You may have at the top of your head. But roughly how many shows are left in this season?
We still probably have about 30 shows.
So it's still great to become a subscriber, right?
Absolutely.
Because as you said, minimum of 4. And then all of a sudden you get to the front of the line.
And there's still good shows out there for people to enjoy.
Plenty of great shows. So again, become a subscriber. Check out grandtheater.org and become a subscriber and get those tickets as well. Anything we're missing here?
I'm struggling a little bit. The APAP bug got me in New York, and I am, I'm down for it.
Hey, it's that time of year. But Sean, thanks for sucking it up and coming on in.
Absolutely.
That's Sean Wright, the executive director of the Grand Theater. We're going to take a quick time out and come back with more. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. I'm Chad Holmes. Join former Wausau West head hockey coach BJ Brandt and myself every Wednesday night from 6 till 8 p.m. for the Big High School Sports Show on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO on the Civic Media app, and also broadcasting live on the 98.9 WXCO YouTube channel. Each week, we'll be talking high school winter sports. We'll review and preview the basketball and hockey action with both the boys and the girls, and each week we'll also be joined by an area head coach and a student athlete guest as well. It's the Big High School Sports Show every Wednesday night from 6 till 8 p.m. on Central Wisconsin's radio home for high school sports, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO on the Civic Media app, and broadcasting live on YouTube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel.
So, how are the kids?
Well, Emily made the honor roll.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, we're really proud of her. Tyler, on the other hand, though,
What's going on?
he's been moody lately, just feeling down and not like himself.
Oh, we've been there. Nick was struggling last spring. He was so anxious and stressed.
Really? What helped?
Well, he joined the soccer team, and ever since, he's been a lot happier. He has more energy, he's less stressed, and he's definitely in a better mood at home. It's made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting out of the house, he's getting some exercise, and he's off his phone for once. It's been good for his mental health.
Sounds like it's been good for your mental health, too.
Participating in Wisconsin high school sports improves students' physical and mental health. Encourage your son or daughter to get involved. This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
If you want me, you can find me left of center off of the strip. In the outskirts and in the fringes, in the corner out of the grip. If you want me, you can find me left of center off of the strip. In the outskirts and in the fringes, in the corner out of the grip. When they ask me, what are you looking at? I always answer, nothing much, not much. I think they know that I'm looking at them. I think they think I must be out of touch, but I'm only in the outskirts and in the fringes.
And welcome back. It is the Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, Civic Media app. And of course, here in the second hour, we are exclusive. I mean, the first hour, all that from 8 till 9 and from 9 till 10, again, live on WXCO.FM and the Civic Media app Sports 2 stream and on YouTube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel. Again, a very chilly start here in north central Wisconsin. It felt so warm yesterday at this time, but that front moved through. 12 degrees above zero is the temperature. Wind chill factor of 10 below zero. Weather-wise for today, it will be mostly cloudy, a high near 16. Those blustery winds will continue. North-northwest winds 15 to 22 miles per hour, gusting as high as 34 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 2 above zero. Thursday, partly sunny, a 50% chance of snow afternoon, a high near 20 degrees. And then Friday, snow likely, mostly cloudy, and a high of 28. And for the weekend, chilly. Saturday, mostly cloudy, a slight chance of some morning snow, a high near 14. And then Sunday, partly sunny and cold, a high near 8 degrees above zero. So January weather, winter time here in north central Wisconsin. So bundle up.
Absolutely.
And of course, we always talk about the fact that if you have travel plans, when it gets cold this weekend, if you're heading off anywhere with these cold temperatures, make sure you're prepared. Have that winter driving survival kit.
That's
Be
right.
aware of that and be ready for anything that could happen on your treks in this winter weather. Tonight, we have the Big High School Sports Show. Again, join us from 6 till 8 p.m. BJ Brandt and myself. We'll be talking about what's going on in high school athletics here in central Wisconsin, recap the action in boys and girls basketball, boys and girls hockey, plus we will have our special guests. Every week we have a coach guest and we have a student athlete guest at 6:35. It'll be East Merrill United hockey coach Brian Bednarchik. And then at 7:05, our student athlete guest, Wausau East Boys basketball senior Robbie and Julie. So that's tonight, 6 till 8 p.m., the Big High School Sports Show right here on 98.9 WXCO. Also, during the course of the last few minutes, been in contact with the campaign of the Lieutenant Governor, Sarah Rodriguez. I don't know, maybe they heard we had another candidate on this morning, so I said, hey, we got to get on this as well. I will say this. Earlier this week, I actually sent out all the invitations because last week we had the chance to talk to David Crowley. I wanted to make sure that these candidates all have an opportunity to join us as well.
Yeah.
And they have been very good about getting back to me. I tell you, that's something that's good to hear. It's good to hear that they want to be able to talk about the issues and talk to the people here in the Wausau area So I'm very excited that we're going to be able to talk to so many of these candidates here very early in the campaign cycle. Talk to them now, talk to them later on as the campaign continues, as more issues come to the forefront. But Sarah Rodriguez will be joining us next Wednesday. Let me make sure. Let me double check this message.
Fantastic.
But next Wednesday at 8:35 during our first hour on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. So 8:35 a.m. next Wednesday, right here. So that's the 21st of January. I want to double check, make sure it wasn't for tomorrow, but actually, no, it is Wednesday. Why was I thinking it was Tuesday today? I mean, life is going by so quickly that I have no idea what day it is. But Sarah Rodriguez, the Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin, will join us for our continuing series of introductory interviews with candidates for governor of Wisconsin next Wednesday, January the 21st.
Did you hear anything from Tom Tiffany yet?
Tom, no, we're working on all these. I'll let you know on all these as they come about. We're not going to talk about my discussions until we have something that is ready to announce. So no, we're going to treat Tom Tiffany just as fairly as everybody else on this program. So I hope that we have a chance to talk to him very soon as well. So again, coming up on Friday, Mandela Barnes. He'll actually be visiting Wausau tomorrow, and he'll be stopping by our studios early tomorrow afternoon to record, and we will have that discussion on the airwaves on Friday morning at 8:06. Then on Tuesday of next week, Missy Hughes, also running for governor. She is the former CEO of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. And then Wednesday of next week, Sarah Rodriguez, the Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin as well. So again, some really good interviews and a chance, I hope, for you to be able to learn a little bit more about these candidates as the process continues. You don't have to make your decision right now on who you support. It's okay to actually say, I'm going to listen. I'm going to try to find out who comes across as the person with the best experience, the best ideas, the best plans, the best abilities to become the next governor of Wisconsin.
Right.
We're going to take another quick bottom of the hour timeout to have a news update and then come back. And again, I don't want to get overly negative, but I find myself very concerned about what the Department of Justice is doing or not doing when it comes to the killing last week in Minnesota. So we'll talk about that coming up next. With Ian Welsh, I am Chad Holmes. Again, 12 degrees above zero is the temperature. Wind chill factor of 10 below zero. The time is 9:34. Chad Holmes Show, live on the WXCO YouTube channel, WXCO.FM, and the Civic Media app, Sports 2 Stream.
Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I just don't know what to feel.
For WXCO News, I'm Isabella Nieto. This year, voters in Wisconsin will head to the polls for local and national elections. In Marathon County, the April ballot will have several offices to vote on.
This is the nonpartisan election in the spring, and we have elections every spring.
That's Marathon County Clerk Kim Trueblood. She says even-numbered years host municipal and some school board elections.
This year is a lot of city councils, village boards. We do have 2 townships that are running some of their boards. School districts, most of them run where you have part of the school board elected every year.
Wausau, Marshfield, and DC Everest school board elections will appear on the ballot in April. Marshfield School District will also appear on the primary ballot in February in the towns of Day, Green Valley, and McMillan, and the city of Marshfield.
So you'll see a portion of each school district have a part of their school board up for election this year.
Trueblood also says this year's county board race stands out. Marathon County has 38 seats on the county board. All of those seats are up for election.
And out of our 38 seats, only 5 of those are contested. So that's something that's really unusual over the last several election cycles. Typically, you'll have probably up to half of those seats contested.
According to the county's candidate tracker, the contested races are in districts 1, 8, 13, 16, and 25. On the Wausau City Council side, 7 out of 11 alder races are contested, but only 1 will appear on the primary ballot.
There's a saying that all elections are local. So it's very important to let your voice be heard in these small elections.
I'm Isabella Nieto for WXCO News.
This Wednesday from 6 till 8 p.m. is another edition of the Big High School Sports Show on 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app and also on the WXCO YouTube channel. I'm Chad Holmes, joined former Wausau West head hockey coach BJ Brandt and myself as we talk winter sports. We'll recap and preview the action on the ice and on the hardwood, plus special guests. At 6:30, we'll be joined by first-year East Merrill United Blue Jacks head hockey coach Brian Bednarchuk. And then at 7:06, it's our student athlete guest from Wausau East, Lumberjack boys basketball standout Robbie and Julie. It's the Big High School Sports Show this Wednesday and each Wednesday night from 6 till 8 p.m. on your home for high school sports. 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO on the Civic Media app and also on the 98.9 WXCO YouTube channel.
I've got a pocket full of holes, head in the clouds, the king of fools. You've got a ribbon of rainbows, the sun in your eyes, running through. Could be I'm happy, I'm sad, could be I'm losing my head.
And welcome back to At Home Show, 98.9 WXCO. Hour number 2 live on the YouTube channel of WXCO, WXCO.FM, and Civic Media app, Sports Stream 2. The time is 9:38. I want to talk about a story. MS Now is reporting at least 6 leaders of a Justice Department unit that investigates police killings have resigned in protest over the Trump administration's handling of the fatal shooting of a motorist in Minneapolis by an ICE officer, according to 3 people briefed on the departures. Top leaders of the criminal section of the Civil Rights Division have left their jobs to register their frustration with the development after the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, decided not to investigate the ICE officer's fatal shooting of Renee Good last week. The criminal section of the division would normally investigate. And let me underline that real quickly. Investigate. We're not saying even prosecute, but investigate. There is a woman who is dead because of bullets fired by an ICE agent, and they're not even going to investigate it. But that section of the division normally investigates any fatal shooting by a law enforcement officer and specializes in probing potential or alleged abuse or improper use of force by law enforcement. The departures, including that of the chief of the section, as well as the principal deputy chief, and acting deputy chief, represent the most significant mass resignation at the Justice Department since February. At that time, 5 leaders and supervisors of the department's public integrity section, which investigates public officials for possible corruption, resigned rather than comply with an appointee of President Donald Trump's orders to dismiss the bribery case against then New York Mayor Eric Adams. One source briefed on the reasoning for the resignation said the handling of the ICE shooting was not the only concern for the unit leaders, and that some were concerned about other decisions by decision leadership. So again, this is a cover-up.
Yeah.
It's a cover-up because you're not even going to investigate this killing of Renee Good by the ICE agent in Minnesota. Also, after the initial reporting by MS Now, late yesterday, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche made that refusal, the refusal to investigate, official by saying in a statement that, quote, there is currently no basis for a criminal civil rights investigation, end quote.
Oh, give me a break.
Blanche did not explain how the department had reached a conclusion that no investigation of a murder was warranted, and he did not take any questions about it from the media.
Ridiculous.
It should go without saying that this should be at least investigated.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, I'm not going to say that an ultimate result should be demanded, but at the very least, an investigation should be demanded. In fact, it is one of the duties of this part of the Department of Justice to investigate shootings like this. But, again, the idea of how every aspect of the federal government is being infiltrated by politics under Donald Trump. Until Donald Trump became president, presidents of both parties, at the very least, attempted to separate politics from the Department of Justice. Donald Trump not only doesn't care about that, he has been blatant in flaunting the fact that politics is a major aspect of what he's trying to do with the DOJ. Also, the New York Times has reported that the acting U.S. attorney in Minnesota and at least 5 other attorneys in that office have resigned after Trump appointees pushed them to investigate Good's wife in order to dig up political dirt on her and Good. Let me repeat that.
Unbelievable.
The person that was killed is having her wife investigated by the Trump administration in order to dig up political dirt on her and Good. And this is according to the New York Times. And we talk about often how the media has not stepped up in terms of the Trump administration and its totalitarian tendencies. But I will say that even with the frustrations, there is still some incredible work being done by venues such as the New York Times and the Washington Post and others. And because this is important, this is, again, showing why an independent press is needed, that the idea that Trump appointees are pushing the U.S. attorney in Minnesota and others to investigate the victims of a crime. It's wrong. It's wrong. So let's get this straight right here. There will not be an investigation into the shooting that occurred last week, but there is going to be investigations involving Good and her wife to find political dirt. That should be criminal. But in this era where the Supreme Court of the United States has said that anything that Donald Trump does is okay because of his office of president, we have this happening now. And again, a lot of what has been going on in the first year of this second Trump administration goes back to what John Roberts and this conservative Supreme Court did by saying that there is a blanket immunity for the president of the United States while in office. Donald Trump has no fear of being prosecuted now because of that. And it truly is outrageous. And it's truly outrageous. Both of these are outrageous. Both that the shooting won't even be investigated, but also that the victims of this potential crime, and I'm going to try to be fair and call it a potential crime, even though I do think it's a crime, are being investigated to get political dirt to try to somehow allow the administration to say somehow that Good deserved to be shot, that Renee Good somehow had it coming to her. And you do hear Republicans basically going out there and saying that she had it coming to her because she didn't do exactly what this ICE agent told her to do. It's just wrong.
That just makes me angry.
And basically right now, it comes down to the main point. Has the Department of Justice of the United States of America become so compromised by Donald Trump and his administration that we are going to lose complete faith in them investigating any sort of crime? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it really is that we got to this point. And also, and I will thank my favorite writer, Craig Calcaterra, for pointing this out in his newsletter today, that ICE and Border Patrol agents in Minnesota are starting to get a little worried because some don't want to go there, as Christy Nome is wanting to get more ICE agents in Minnesota. But also, they're continuing to do things they should not be doing. Calcaterra reports that in one incident caught on video, a woman tried to drive down a street where a protest was taking place and where ICE agents were on the scene. The ICE agent stopped her car, busted out her windows, cut her seatbelt, and pulled her out and manhandled her before arresting her. So you must think that this woman must have been doing something just horribly wrong, that they would do all that. No. She was arrested and manhandled and had her vehicle damaged. She did not commit any crime of any kind. She was heard on the video saying that she was simply trying to get to a doctor's appointment. Another incident, 4 male ICE agents tackled a woman, then lifted her off the ground while groping her as she cried, help me, and check my ID. The woman is an American citizen who, again, violated no law whatsoever. And Calcaterra says, while these thugs, and I agree with it, that's why I must say it, while these thugs are out there terrorizing the citizenry, other ICE agents are privately expressing hesitation about their deployments as they face a growing backlash from lawmakers and civilians over their brutality and their lawlessness. There was a leaked Department of Homeland Security memo. It was leaked to the independent journalist Ken Klipperstein, in which the agency is calling on agents to volunteer for the surge in Minneapolis. The memo tells agents to keep a low profile, hide any insignia that could tie them to Border Patrol or Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and to be mindful of what they post on social media. Klipperstein spoke to some agents who said that the memo came out because many are hesitant to be deployed to Minnesota because of the dangers involved. We are at, I hope, a tipping point here. It should have been already.
It should have been a tipping point like 2 years ago.
But the idea that, again, and this all goes back, again, to Donald Trump sending ICE agents to places he considers Democrat areas. The politics that seeps through over and over and over again has to be stopped. And frankly, and I'm going to say this, we are seeing some Republicans are finally growing a spine and starting to push back just a little bit against dear leader here. We are seeing some folks saying, hey, enough about this talk of invading Greenland or bombing Iran, and also the violence being shown by these ICE agents. But yet, Nome and Trump and Stephen Miller and the rest of them are talking about sending more ICE agents to Minnesota. And one of the things that has been speculated about is that Trump is trying to light the fuse. So he is able to put in a state of martial law and cancel elections in 2026. That cannot be allowed to happen.
No.
And it means that leadership has to be reestablished in the Congress, Democrat and Republican. Still, Democrats somehow don't seem to, I think, realize the danger as well. So again, that's what's going on. And the thing is, this story is continuing in Minneapolis. It's continuing throughout the country. It's something that has to be continually pushed back against. And leaders have to step up big time. This is an opportunity for profiles and courage of Republicans and Democrats alike as we continue in this very I think, scary time that is going on in the country as we do hit the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Again, it's a scary time in this country, and a scary time especially for those folks who are American citizens who are being targeted here. I mean, just shake your head and continue to protest and continue to push back. We're going to come back here in a couple minutes, wrap it up, have our final segment, including our number for the day quiz as well. The time is 9:51, 12 degrees above zero, wind chill factor of 10 below here in downtown Wausau. I am Chad Holmes. It is the Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. The 15-1 Wausau West Warrior High School hockey team returns to the ice on Thursday night, traveling to Marshfield for a Wisconsin Valley Conference matchup. Hear all the exciting action live on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app, starting with the pregame show at 6:35 and the opening face-off at 7 p.m. Wausau West Hockey on 98.9 WXCO is brought to you by Sun Printing, the Wausau West Athletic Department, Cloverbell Credit Union, sponsor of the Cloverbell Credit Union broadcast booth, Rocket Industrial, and the Wausau Business Show, the Wausau Cyclones, the Wausau West Hockey Booster Club, Four Seasons Golf of Wausau, and Mike Whitmore Construction. It's Wausau West at Marshfield in high school hockey, Thursday night, starting with the pregame show at 6:35 on 98.9 WXCO, WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the WIAA, are the 178,000 high school sports students in Wisconsin. And so we stand. We stand for the runners, soccer and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, administrators, and officials. We stand for the swimmers, football players, and wrestlers. We stand for the golfers, softball, and volleyball players. We stand as the national leader and advocate for high school athletics and all who participate in them and make them possible, because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
And welcome back. Chad Holmes with you here on WXCO.FM and Civic Media app, Sports 2 stream, and on the 98.9 WXCO YouTube channel. Today is the 14th day of January of 2026, day number 14 of this year. There are 351 days remaining until we get to 2027. A few famous events have occurred on this date in history. On this date, in 1784, the Continental Congress ratified the Peace of Paris, which formally ended the American Revolution. It recognized the independence of the United States. On this date in 1861, Mehmed VI, the last Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, was born. On this date in 1941, Faye Dunaway, who became best known for her tense, absorbing performances in movies such as Chinatown and Network, was born in Bascom, Florida. On this date in 1954, baseball player Joe DiMaggio and actress Marilyn Monroe married at City Hall in San Francisco. On this date in 1970, the Supremes staged their final concert with Diana Ross, who subsequently embarked on a solo career. The Supremes continued performing with other members until 1977. And on this date in 2024, after 52 years on the throne, Queen Margaret of Denmark abdicated, and her eldest son, Crown Prince Frederick, became King Frederick X. So those are a few events that have occurred on this date in history, January the 14th. Time now for our number for the day quiz, an opportunity for Ian to get back on the winning track. He is 0 for 2 so far this year. This week. Every week we give him an opportunity with the number for the day to wrap up the show. If based on the math, because he gets 3 choices, he should get 1 right out of every 3, 33%. So anything above 33% would be a passing grade. Anything that has more right than wrong would be a winning week. 4 out of 5 would be an A grade, and 5 out of 5, of course, is a perfect week. So today, our number for the day involves Marilyn Monroe. She was married to Joe DiMaggio back on this date in history. And Marilyn Monroe, big star back in the 1950s and early 1960s.
Oh, yeah.
The number for the day is,
okay,
how many movies did Marilyn Monroe be part of? She completed how many films in her career?
How many films? Okay.
So, how many films did Marilyn Monroe complete in her career?
All right.
Okay. Your choices are 19 films, 29 films, 39 films. So 19, 29, or 39. How many films did Marilyn Monroe complete in her career?
Okay. Let's see. I gotta think about this one because I remember my movie history. I think my dad would definitely know this question. He watches a lot of old movies.
The first movie she appeared in was in 1946. The last film she appeared in was in 1961. So in that time frame, how many films did she? I need an answer. 19, 29, or 39.
Okay, I'm gonna say final answer. I'm gonna say 29 films. Final answer, I'm gonna say 29.
Marilyn Monroe, between 1946 and 1961, appeared in 29 films.
Oh, thank
Very
goodness
good.
I got 1 right. I'm still in a good place right now.
1 out of 3. All right. Well, coming up later tonight, don't forget, we'll be back from 6 till 8 p.m. for the Big High School Sports Show.
Yep.
Right here on 98.9 WXCO, WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO, the Civic Media app, and also on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow. Again, hour number 1 between 8 and 9 a.m. live on 98.9 WXCO and online, and hour number 2 on the 98.9 WXCO YouTube channel and on the Sports 2 stream of WXCO.FM and the Civic Media app. Ian, have a great rest of your Wednesday.
You too, Chad. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
And thanks for joining us for the Chad Holmes Show on 98.9 WXCO.
You just